Putting together a little video today just to share some information on some local herbs and weeds that are around in the local gardens and probably in your backyard, just in an effort to help us improve health and get to know our local flora and the foods we're often killing away with pesticides, and get to learn a little bit about them and how to utilise them for foods, especially in this day of age when money seems to be lacking. So I'm going to take you around to this little plant down here, guys. I've just found this one in my backyard. This is what we know, you've probably recognised it before, you certainly would have seen it before. It's a little dandelion. So I've picked one at this stage just down here that doesn't have its flowers on it. You can see the old dead flower head just beside it, stands erect, probably about 20 centimetres tall, thereabout. But you can recognise the dandelion leaves, so I'll pick them up. I'll pick out a couple for you, thank you friend. It's always important to remember to ask a plant for permission to pick it out. It is a conscious living thing, remember. Now if we just get a bit of a close-up, if Jessie Ray there can get a bit of a close-up with the camera and get a good look at those leaves there, you'll kind of see how they take off from the bottom. They start from the centre piece and they take straight off, so there's no stem. They're erect straight off the root system themselves, and then they lobe up in a lobe serrated fashion around the top. Now dandelion leaves can look different, they can actually be more serrated than what they are here, and hopefully on this video I should be able to show you the other kind as well. So these are one of the most edible foods that we have around. They're quite nice. The younger leaves are definitely the ones to pick, so I'll just give that a test now. Yep, and as I thought, the younger leaves are always less bitter than the older leaves. So if I actually pick one at the back here, one of the older leaves, so you can kind of see the difference in the age of a leaf. It looks a lot older than the younger leaf found in the centre. We'll just pick that one off there. It's got a few little eggs in there, but that's okay, I don't mind. Oh, a lot more bitter on that one. So the key is where we are using these guys, we'll go a bit more into it, but we definitely want to eat the younger leaves because the older leaves are a little bit more bitter. I'm just going to see if we can get on camera. We've had a little friend jump on down who wants to get on camera, so we'll just see if Jessie Ray can actually catch a little bit of him on footage. Check him out right there, eh?
Oh, again.
That's twice he's been around while we've been shooting films.
He's coming. There we go. You just giving him energy healing?
Yes, and basically I'm just keeping it nice and simple and subtle and just focusing love and light into his energy field. And a nice calm energy. So there's several ways to eat the dandelion. One of the easiest ways, and most people are familiar with dandelion tea. So dandelion tea obviously is purchased from the supermarket chemist these days, but you've got the plant in your backyard, guys, so you can actually just come out and pick it from here. To make a dandelion tea, you're looking at picking roughly probably 5 or 6 leaves of the fresh dandelion. It can be used fresh, and then you just place it into a cup of hot water as you would any other tea. So try to keep it at 80 degrees, especially because it is fresh. It will damage the nutrients inside of it year after if you put it any hotter. You'll notice it will away very quickly. So tea is definitely one of the easiest ways to use it, and the leaves are used for the tea. Now you can eat the leaves as well. This is one of the family favourites for us. We're constantly putting the leaves in things like pasta sauces. Again, I've got to stress you need to pick the younger leaves. If you pick the older leaves, you will notice the bitterness in the food, and that's not going to taste real nice. Pestos are another really good option to put these in. What you're generally thinking, guys, is any way you're using greens, spinach, you can use dandelion as well, but do keep in mind it holds a little bit more of a bitter content than what spinach does, so I usually find it better if you actually mix it in with something else. The other part of a dandelion we can also use that's pretty special is the root system itself. So to get that root system out, we'd have to dig pretty deep. So if you're ever after the roots, you've either got to be prepared to dig deep or you try to harvest them in a softer soil like a garden bed. Do keep in mind though, dandelions aren't generally prone to grow in garden beds. You will see them settling probably in yours at home, but what that generally is telling you that your soil is needing aeration as well. So you'll notice as we have a little bit of a look around, but we're seeing them in all the harder soil here, so we're seeing them in the ground that's been very compacted. The garden that we're turning over, it doesn't necessarily have any in there, and that's because of the giant taproot that the dandelion actually puts out in the first place. And that taproot goes down deep. It's one deep root that goes right down, breaks the soil structure down below, and actually allows earthworms to come up and process the soil above and add air to the soil. So where you do see dandelions growing, it generally does also represent an imminent arrival of earthworms, which is fantastic. But in saying that, we can dig it up, and if we can dig it up, the root system is a fantastic thing to use. Dandelion root tea is a fantastic detoxifier for your kidneys and liver. You can also, to utilize it in that way, you can just dig the root up, dry it out, and then grind that up into smaller pieces and use that in a herbal tea, same way you would any other. Or you can actually, on low temperature, bake that dandelion root in the oven and have the baked root, and then you can actually use that as a coffee substitute as well. So I'll see if I can find some more information to attach down the bottom on this video later on for you to look at in the comments if I get the chance. But that's dandelion. So that's dandelion as it's growing. But what I want to show you guys is just over here, down beside it, we've got another dandelion plant just here, and this dandelion's still got its flowers on it. And this is cool because this is one of the things I also want to show you guys. Dandelion's flowers only open up during the day. So you'll see this now because it's daytime, so the flowers are open. But as the nighttime settles, these flowers will actually close up, kind of like this one here that's in seed already. Now these flowers you can actually pick. They're a delicacy back in, I think it was France, back in the early days. And you can actually just pick those flower heads off, saute them in some butter on the stove, and then add them to stir fries or something of the like. So that's definitely another one of the ways you could use that. What are the reasons you guys would want to use dandelion? And that's one of the things I wanted to share. Dandelions are so abundant, full of nutrients. Hey, sorry little fella, I squashed you there and I'm using you for a video. They're so full of nutrients that our body requires. One of the primary nutrients that they're, especially going back into autumn now guys, with the weather starting just to cool down at night, one of the primary things we're after in this plant is the iron. We know that a lot of people struggle with iron. A lot of people take iron tablets and end up with side effects like constipation and things like that. And we know that we can have issues absorbing certain kinds of iron into our system. Dandelion, 9% of dandelion's total volume is iron. It is found in a form of non-heme iron though, so do understand that. Non-heme iron is just plant iron, and what it basically means is that that iron is not as absorbable into our body as heme iron, which is generally found in red meats. The good news though for all the vegetarians and vegans who are after getting more of the iron out of this food, if we do add vitamin C to the equation, so just a little bit of lemon juice squeezed across the top of that food as we eat it, we actually get more, we absorb more of the iron out of it. I think it's up to 60% more of the iron, so it's quite a substantial amount. And that goes for all our greens too guys, so we definitely want to focus on that. There's also huge amounts of calcium in this plant. Okay, calcium's, I think he's at 10% off the top of my head, as well as vitamin K. And they're a really good combination to find in a food itself, because both of those, calcium and vitamin K, play important roles in bone growth. So our bone health in a system isn't all reliant on just calcium, it also takes vitamin K. So the two of these guys together actually help strengthen our bone system and make it quite strong, as well as the vitamin K also adding to their blood clotting capability, so which is fantastic. Now, I've seen with the use of dandelion and sophistle together, which is another one we'll do a little video on, I've seen many women now come off medication altogether for iron tablets and actually have to lower the dose of natural foods they're eating because they were getting abundant of that food supply in the first place. And that was sort of come from tests from the doctor who recommended we not eat so much. Vitamin A available abundantly, vitamin B6. B6 guys is part of a complex vitamins, and those complex vitamins are all about the energy, they're all about our thought and brain processes, they're all about really feeling good. Other things we can look at that we can find that are available in here also include things like potassium, 5%, 5 grams of carbohydrates per 100 grams, 7% fiber, magnesium, off the top of my head, potassium as well. So the other good thing to mention about that is holding the potassiums, it actually holds our electrolytes as well. So dandelion on the medicinal side plays a really good diuretic for the body. Like we mentioned earlier, it helps detoxify the liver and kidneys. It does so through its diuretic action. But the good news about dandelion is when it does act as a diuretic, it also has the electrolytes in our body that we require to reabsorb the next lot of water that's coming into our body. So we're not creating disharmony in the balance of the electrolytes in the body. And that's why we use natural foods in the first place, guys, because we can prevent creating imbalances in our body by using the right foods with a complex amount of vitamins already provided by nature. So that's dandelion, guys. There's not too many plants you'll get dandelion confused with. The only other one that I can think of that really looks like dandelion is sowthistle, but we're going to do a video on that and you will see that one. That stands quite tall and quite erect in its flowering and grows on a stem, whereas dandelion, like I said before guys, grows in a clump down the bottom. Now I'm just going to have a quick look and we'll just see if we can find one more type of dandelion leaf to show you guys so you know for the identification. Here it is. Okay, and as you can see I have a cacti garden here guys. It's quite dry, the cacti garden, so you'll see a lot of little dandelions popping up in different places trying to penetrate and bring the earthworms through into this soil. You've seen the fresh garden before and there was none in there. This is where they all are. So I just got this one down here. We're a little bit dry down in this garden because these cacti don't get watered very much. But I'm going to pick, thank you friend, may I do that? Thank you. So I'm going to pick a couple of leaves off. So you'll see with these leaves, it's a little bit hard to see. I'll see if we can get a better one. That's probably a really good one now. It's a little bit dry, so it makes it a little bit harder. But the leaves on this dandelion, there you go, are a lot more narrow and a lot more serrated. Okay, so you can still see the basic lobing to the dandelion and a little serrated edges, but it is a lot thinner and it grows in exactly the same way. So don't get confused. They are both dandelion, they are both good for you. Yeah guys, that's it. Oh, and the most important thing about dandelion we can't forget, when a dandelion flower finishes, we pick it. Well, this one's a little bit fresh, but we've got to blow into it and spread the love of the dandelions. Namaste, guys.